Japan has this fascinating, deep-rooted connection with spirits. We're talking about kami, ghosts, and even everyday objects that can hold a soul. It's kind of magical, right? They believe that if something is loved long enough or mourned deeply enough, it can actually wake up. Enter Okiku's doll. Back in 1918, a 17-year-old boy named Eikichi Suzuki picked up this doll for his little sister, Okiku, in Sapporo, Hokkaido. It was a simple doll, about 40 centimeters tall, dressed in a beautiful kimono, and had this adorable black hair styled in a traditional Okappa bob. Its porcelain face was as pale as fresh snow, giving it an almost ethereal look. Okiku absolutely adored that doll. She took it everywhere, to meals, to bed, and even to the temple. Can you imagine? She chatted with it like it was her best friend, sharing her secrets and dreams, pouring her heart out. It was more than just a toy. It was her most treasured companion, filling her little world with joy and imagination, like a spark of happiness in her everyday life. But then, tragedy struck. Okiku fell ill with a sudden fever and, heartbreakingly, passed away that same year at just 3 years old. Her family was shattered, their hearts heavy with grief. In their sorrow, they placed her beloved doll on a small home altar, praying to it with the hope that her spirit might still linger nearby, watching over them. That's when the strange things began. At first, it was subtle. The family noticed that the doll's hair seemed longer, almost as if it was responding to their love and loss. They brushed it, trimmed it, and yet, it just kept growing. Can you believe that? It's like something out of a spooky movie. A few weeks later, they noticed something even weirder. The texture had completely changed. What used to be a stiff, factory-cut bob transformed into something soft and fine, just like real human hair. It was almost like Okiku was still there, you know? So, they decided to take the doll to Mannenji Temple, a beautiful Buddhist temple where the monks agreed to look after it. They even mentioned that Okiku's spirit might be hanging around in her beloved toy. Over the years, thousands of curious visitors have flocked to see this incredible phenomenon, and who could blame them? It's not every day you see a doll with hair that just one T stopped growing, and the doll's hair kept growing. Scientists examined it and confirmed it was indeed human hair, but no one could explain why it kept lengthening, even though the doll had no biological roots or scalp. It's a real mystery, isn't it? Monks at Mannenji Temple say they occasionally trim it, but every time it grows back to the same length, about 25 centimeters, just touching the doll's shoulders, exactly how Okiku wore hers when she was alive. Visitors to the temple often share some seriously eerie experiences that'll send chills down your spine. Imagine this. They talk about hearing faint giggles like a child's laughter echoing through the halls, and it's just spine-tingling, right? You can almost picture little Okiku playing there, can't you? And when you look into the doll's eyes, it's almost like they've changed from a deep black to this soft brown over time, giving it this strangely lifelike quality that feels a bit unsettling. Some folks even say they've seen the doll's mouth crack open just a bit at night, and its expression shifts ever so slightly. Not a huge change, but enough that when you come back in the morning, you can't shake the feeling that something feels off. It's that vibe around it that really gets under your skin, you know? The monks describe a presence that's gentle, yet restless. Not malicious or demonic, just lonely, like a child longing for play. They say Okiku's spirit isn't trapped or cursed. She simply refuses to let go of her beloved toy, clinging to the love that keeps her memory alive. Isn't that just hauntingly beautiful? Every year, during the Bon Festival, something truly magical happens at the temple for Okiku's doll. It's this really special ceremony where they believe spirits come back to visit us, and you can just feel the love in the air. The monks don't just put on a show, they treat the doll like a cherished family member. They bow to it, light incense, and have heartfelt conversations with it, almost like they're chatting with a little child. It's such a touching moment, you know. In their eyes, Okiku is still very much alive, and that connection is just so beautiful. The doll stays at Mennenji Temple in Iwamizawa, Hokkaido, tucked away in a glass case, dressed in a vibrant red kimono that's so bright it practically glows. And that eerie human hair, yep, it keeps growing, year after year, decade after decade. Isn't that just wild? It's like the doll is still a part of Okiku's world, keeping her spirit alive in some way. You might think this is just another tourist spot where you can whip out your phone and snap a bunch of selfies, but hold on. The monks at Mennenji Temple are super protective of Okiku's doll. You can't just waltz in and start taking photos whenever you feel like it. Nope, they only allow visitors by permission, treating the doll like a sacred relic rather than just a quirky thing to gawk at. It's all about respect, and trust me, you can totally feel that vibe when you're there. And here's where it gets even creepier, so brace yourself. On those quiet, still nights, people say you can actually hear faint whispers coming from the doll's case. Isn't that spine-tingling? Imagine standing there in the dim light, feeling the weight of history, and suddenly you hear a soft voice that sends chills down your spine. One monk, when asked if he believes the doll is really alive, smiled gently and said the doll is not alive, but the love that bound it to the child is. That really hits home, doesn't it? It's like the essence of their connection is still very much alive. So maybe the whole idea of Okiku's curse isn't really about haunting spirits. Maybe it is something much deeper. Think about it. A child's love that's too strong to fade away, a grief that's too profound to ever truly die, and a spirit that, even after 100 years, still longs to be remembered and cherished. It's both beautiful and heartbreaking, right? It really makes you ponder the power of love and memory, doesn't it?